Okay, folks, we're going to be transcribing a narrative here. And let me just key in what we're doing here. This is William Labov. Labov's. This is William Labov's narrative analysis model. Okay, what's the value of this? The value is that no matter what the language, sign language, spoken language, it doesn't matter. Humans tell stories in a very predictable pattern. It doesn't mean that the stories are the same or that every element is exactly the same sequence. They all good narratives, well, all narratives are composed of the same elements. What are these elements? You got 6 elements. You've got an abstract, which is your opening. It's the thing that says, "Hey everybody, I'm about to tell you a story." Okay. You've got orientation statements, which is essentially setting the scene, who, what, when, where, etc. Okay, so nothing's taken place yet, but this is, used to be I would do this, or this is a normal activity, and then one day, right? Okay, and then one day you have complicating action. Complicating actions, which is action, verbs. They may be present tense, they may be past tense, but you start doing things. And then from time to time you'll have evaluative statements. And these are opinions, thoughts, things that weren't said. Things that are said are complicating actions. Things that were thought but not said are evaluative statements. They might be things that are realized now in retrospect. They might have been at the time I was thinking this. It was an ominous sign. Well, what do you mean it was an ominous sign? That's an opinion, right? Okay, so opinions, thoughts, opinions, thoughts, not words. So when the words would be complicating actions, the evaluative statements. Okay, we got 4. We got 2 to go. We've got resolutions, which is essentially a climax or a point of the story. And we have a coda, which is not a child or deaf adults in this case. It is a conclusion, essentially. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, so you have, not all stories will have all 6 things, but all stories will only have things from these 6 items, right? You don't have to have an abstract. You don't have to have a coda. You don't have to have any of the other things, although normally you'll have orientation and complicating action, probably evaluative statements. We hope there's a point to the story, so there should be a resolution. And most of the time you'll have an abstract and a coda. Okay, so let's take I'm not going to do the whole story, but let's try to decode this video that I found here on YouTube, which I wasn't looking very hard. I just came up with well, here we go.
Hey, I'm Milk, and welcome to this video.
Okay.
Today I'm going to be talking about the time I almost died. No, seriously.
Okay, so let's get to, so I have, hey, I'm Milk, and welcome to this video. Is that an abstract? It's really nothing. It's not part of the narrative. Today I'm going to be talking about the time I almost died. Abstract. Okay. No, seriously, I almost did long ago. More abstract. Okay. Here's one of the things that I'm going to suggest that we use here. So I've already transcribed whatever I'm going to play with. I'm now going to set the tabs so that I get a front piece, and then the rest of it, I need a little bit more space than that so that this works out. Okay, you see what I'm doing? So I have well, okay, I don't know what to do with that. Hey, okay, so today I'm going to talk about the time I almost died, and I want to pull this into more of that. So see how the paragraph backs away from that label. My family and I went to Nantucket in the summer. Okay, that's nothing's happening. It's setting the stage, right? And every one of those days we stayed there, we went to the beach. I'm going to put that still as more orientation because it's still setting the scene for the main event of the day that she almost died. We went to the beach. Personally, I don't like the beach. Aha, that's an opinion. So that's an evaluative statement. Too many rocks, too many screaming kids, and lots of sunburns. Are those facts or opinions? I'm going to count those as opinions, and that's more of this evaluative statement. She expresses an opinion and gives some evidence supporting the opinion, but the evidence includes opinions. What do you mean too many rocks? How many is too many? You think it's too many. Okay. Maybe if the beach had nice clear water and soft sand. Yeah, okay, so that's still an opinion. And then the opinion, you'll hear this in just a second, includes preferred beach destination. Okay, so all of that's going to be evaluative statement. Anyway, we wanted to go to some beach, and what we didn't know is that the beach we went to had the highest and strongest waves. Is that opinion or fact of setting things up? It reveals a mindset, okay, and it's kind of setting the scene. So you are allowed to put up to two things together when you're not sure. If you got things that seems to be, so all of this seems to be, what we didn't know, what we, at the time, our thought process was unrelated to reality. And this is where I stop my transcript. Okay, so you get the idea here. I'm going to play the video then through this part of the transcript.
Hey, I'm Milk and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about the time I almost died. No, seriously, I almost did. Long ago. My family and I went to Nantucket in the summer. Every one of those days that we stayed there, we went to the beach. Personally, I don't like the beach. Too many rocks, too many screaming kids, and lots of sunburns. Maybe if the beach had nice, clear water and soft sand, Bahamas. Yeah, I would like the beach. Anyway, one day we wanted to go to some beach, and what we didn't know is that the beach that we went to had the strongest and highest waves we've ever seen. I was excited.
All right. So it was strongest and highest, not highest and strongest. Not that that makes a difference on my analysis, but I want an accurate transcript. And what we didn't know is the beach. Was it? Is that what it was? There's another word missing in there. So, to the best of your ability, make the transcript as complete as possible. And let's see. At the beginning, we had a long ago. So you can extend the vowels if somebody says the words a long way, like that. And you could show spaces if you wanted to show pauses. That's fine. Not really that essential. My point here is that I want to see that you're able to determine which category any given part of the message is in. And that doesn't mean that every sentence needs to be, right? So today I'm going to talk about the time I almost died. No, seriously, almost did long ago. That's two sentences in my transcription, but all of it's the abstract. I don't need to have every sentence have a separate identifier if it's the same as the previous identifier, right? I need to identify where there's where something has changed. So this is orientation until it's not, and it's evaluation until it's not. And it's this orientation, valuation, right, until it's not. And so that's the idea. There you go. That's it. That's as complex as it ends up being. The point of it really is, When you're interpreting a story from one language into another, are you telling it the same way? Are you identifying that there are these components? There is an opener to the, usually there is an opener to the story. Usually you go right into setup. This happened long ago, blah, blah, blah. There might be evaluative statements right away. There might be complicating action right away. But when the source text has complicating action, you need to generate the target text so that it is complicating action and not evaluative statement or orientation. Right? That's the point, so that you know about these things. When you're telling the story, you can recognize that was this way. I know how to do that in the other language. They look like this or they sound like this. And you can match the components so that when you're done, your audience knows that they've been told a story and not not a series of discrete facts. It should flow as a story. It should be recognizable as a narrative, and that means that it has to have narrative structure, which means it needs to be composed of these 6 elements. There's the point. Have fun doing it, and see you around.